In tonight's Big Story Breakdown, we are digging into the demonstrations happening nationwide.
This Saturday, No King's Day protests are planned in nearly 2,000 locations, including here in Oklahoma. It comes as the largest military parade in decades is set to take place in the nation's capital, celebrating the U.S. Army's 250th birthday, which also falls on President Trump's 79th birthday. The last military parade in Washington was back in 1991. To celebrate the U.S. victory in the Gulf War. It cost around $12 million. This year's parade could cost as much as $45 million. The price tag raising concerns for some leaders, but the U.S. Army Secretary argues the event will also act as a resource.
I don't think it's the best use of our tax dollars.
We're a lion, and a lion doesn't have to tell you it's a lion.
What we believe is this will continue the strength in recruiting and retention that we have as young Americans across the country get to see all of the amazing things that the Army has done.
No King's Day demonstrations being planned because some see the festivities as a display of authoritarianism, not patriotic, and want to reject what they call billionaire first politics. So where did No King's Day come from? Where did that happen? Well, it was orchestrated by the 50-51 movement, a national movement made up of everyday Americans. The name stands for 50 states, 50 protests, one movement. The organization called for President Trump to be, quote, dethroned, as they compare his actions to that of a king and not a democratically elected president. Now, President Trump responding to the No Kings protest, calling the name, quote, poorly chosen.
They go, no kings?
No kings.
I don't feel like a king. I have to go through hell to get stuff approved.
Organizers of No King's Day events say they will not be hosting an event in D.C. However, the president said this week, quote, for those people that want to protest, they're going to be met with very big force.
There are about a dozen No King's Day protests happening this weekend here in Oklahoma. If you look at the map there on the No Kings website, you can see this includes cities like OKC, Lawton, Ardmore, Bartlesville, and Tulsa. Governor Kevin Stitt has made several social media posts about these demonstrations saying, quote, we're not messing around in Oklahoma. Violent protesters and rioters will be met with zero tolerance. House Democratic leader Cindy Munson responding to the governor's comments, saying Oklahomans have a constitutional right to peacefully voice their concerns without the fear of repercussions, whether the governor respects that or not. She says while we can all agree crime should be prosecuted, peaceful assembly is not a crime, it is a right. Legal experts educating Oklahomans about their rights ahead of those protests happening this weekend.
Fox 25's David Chasanoff spoke with attorney Ed Blau. David, what does he suggest ahead of the No King's Day movement?
Adam and Wendy, Blau suggests as people attend the protest in this area this weekend that they don't do anything crazy, meaning throwing things or destroying property. And if they don't do that, they shouldn't have any issues.
Beyond the protest this weekend, anybody who wants to protest can. They have a First Amendment right to do so, but within certain parameters.
Ed Blau says if you plan to protest this weekend, it has to be in a public place.
If there's a speaker up front and everybody's listening to him or her, things are probably going to be fine. If you're marching through a public street and things are peaceful, things are likely to be fine.
According to the legal analyst, you can't go on somebody's property or destroy things.
That's when law enforcement could get involved.
Blau says if there's destruction to property or violence happening around you, it's a good idea to leave.
Once chaos or once disorder breaks out, at that point, if you're standing nearby, even if you're not doing anything, you could be arrested or could be a target for detention.
He adds if you're arrested, you could potentially be charged with disorderly conduct.
The best thing to do if you have been arrested or charged, of course, is to hire a lawyer and have that lawyer look at what you're doing to see if it could have been protected by the First Amendment.
Blau says the best thing you can do when protesting is being aware of your surroundings. Reporting live in Oklahoma City, David Chasanoff, Fox 25 News.
Thank you, David. And the No Kings protests will be following days of nationwide protests against federal immigration raids. Protests continuing on the streets of downtown L.A. According to LAPD, they've made around 470 arrests since Saturday. Most of these because people failed to leave the area at the request of law enforcement. However, The department says there have been a handful of more serious charges, including assault against police officers. Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass says a curfew will remain in parts of the city for the third night in a row. She says the goal is to make sure the downtown neighborhood and those surrounding it are all safe.
And my hope is after continuing it a few more days, that people will get the message that we are serious.
Bass is calling for an end to the immigration raids. The Trump administration says it will continue its mass deportation efforts. Within the last hour, a federal judge issued a temporary restraining order directing President Donald Trump to return control of the National Guard to California. In his order, the judge says the president overstepped his bounds in ordering the deployment of roughly 4,000 National Guard members to L.A. in response to the protests. According to the judge, the deployment was illegal and violated the 10th Amendment. The temporary restraining order takes effect tomorrow.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott has ordered the deployment of more than 5,000 Texas National Guard soldiers amid demonstrations against immigration raids. Abbott says the soldiers are strategically positioned to bolster state and local law enforcement. He adds 2,000 Texas Department of Public Safety troopers are also deployed to respond to potential criminal activity. Protests have already been seen in San Antonio, Austin, and Dallas. And more are expected this weekend as part of the national No Kings movement. And that was your big story breakdown tonight. You can learn more about the protests happening across the country and the No Kings Day demonstrations taking place this weekend on OKCFox.com.